All right, this is the final video for your project, folks. Welcome to the end. All right, as you can see, you're not looking at a VirtualBox at the moment. We're looking at a website. So what I want you to do is go to this website. You'll see the hyperlink in the upper left-hand corner of the screen here. It says https public.cyber.mil/STIGs. As you can see, the acronym spells out Security Technical Implementation Guides. Okay, so before we do any of the stuff in the VM, this is pertinent to what I want you to do and have done inside of your VMs. So we're going to scroll down over here to the left. We're going to click on Document Library. Wait for the screen to load. All right, since we're working in Server 2019, we're going to talk about that one. So we're going to look down here. Once you type in 2019, you'll see the number of entries lessen. However, we're looking at operating systems. So we'll wait for that to load and do that 2019 again. All right, so you want to download this guy right here, Microsoft Windows Server 2019 STIG. Okay, when you click on that, it will do the zip file and store it to your hard drive. All right, next thing you want to do is go to the SRG STIG viewing tools. All right, so since you're probably not using a Linux or anything like that, we want to make sure you're using the correct version. As you can see, there's an MSI, which is the actual complete installation file, and the STIG viewer and a zip file. My high recommendation is to go ahead and download the MSI and install it. I won't go through the steps here. Feel free to use the user guide as a follow-on to understand how to use and operate the STIG viewer. Now, after all of that, you're going to have this little icon on your desktop that says STIG Viewer 3. Okay, we're going to go ahead and open that once all that installation process is done. All right, wait for it to load. It does take a minute. It's not a quick process on this one. There it goes. And here it is again. All right, as you can see, I did a couple of them in the past, so I'm going to close all these out, get rid of these, and then we're going to open it. Now you can see that I downloaded it somewhere, so we'll find the downloads. Here it is. Yeah, I like Metroid. I do some ROM stuff on the side. Shh, don't talk about that. All right, so we'll load that. Now we have a very good idea and understanding how this is going to set up and work. At this point, you're going to create a checklist. So we're going to open, let me make sure I got it right. Export the STIG. Export format, a CSV. Now, hopefully you have like Google spreadsheets or Microsoft Excel or something like that. Definitely want to make sure you have that capability and go ahead and export. Now we're going to put this to our desktop. Yep, got a few good games going on here. Don't tell my wife, I love that Marvel vs. Capcom. It's a pretty good fighting game. So we're going to put on here 2019, just 2019, just that. Now, what you didn't see is over here to the left on my other screen, it created this 2019 CSV. We're going to double click on that guy and open it up. Now I'm going to again bring it back over here. Now you can see it looks like kind of a cluster. It's okay. First thing I want you to do is delete this top row. Okay. And then turn on highlight from A to AA over here to the right and put in the filter so you can filter stuff out. Okay. Now, a lot of this stuff is going to be very verbose. So if you have multiple screens, it will help you out a lot. So what we already know is this. We downloaded the Server 2019 STIG. These are benchmark IDs. As you see, it's empty. We don't need that, so we'll delete them. Anything you see as a deleted or whatever type of environment or whatever, go ahead and just delete them. I don't want you to be bogged down with a bunch of different things up here. I'm going to focus on what we really need, and that is the check text and the check content there and the fixed text. So we're going to hide everything except for severity. So we're going to hide these guys. So we're going to have, in the end, we're going to have the STIG ID name over here to the left, the fixed text. We're going to hide the discussion, the CCI, the legacy information, and then everything that's left over here. So you should only have a couple of things here. So yeah, it's a lot of information right here you'll see. So you have the STIG, the severity, the fixed text, and the check content. All right. So from here, we're going to wrap text for these all these fields. So we'll go ahead and make it a little bit more readable. So you can expand these out, get them where you can see everything and read everything. Make it all nice and easy for yourself. Okay. Get some more formatting going on here. And then, just like by doing that, I hit a lot of stuff, so we'll go back and fix that. All right, we'll just leave it like this. So we're going to move this to my other screen over here to the left and get it out of the way. All right, minimize the STIG viewer. Now we're going to fire up our VM and get into this. All right, long story short, while this thing is loading up with our operating system, I want to let you know that anything and everything for any type of organization enterprise involves group policy or any type of policy in general. You have policies to make sure we kind of cover our tails on a lot of things to make sure that, hey, we said not to do this, we said X, and you did Y, so why did you do that? So now you're getting punished for doing that product. So in this case, we're going to move forward with creating what's called group policies. And group policies, it basically sends these policy requirements out to the entire domain. So your entire domain is going to receive all these rules and blockers and things like that. These are the things that really frustrate people because one, it could be a good thing because it could protect your system. It protects your environment. And two, it allows your manageability to take place from a single server, i.e. this domain controller, which you have been so much working on for this final project. So while we're sitting here waiting for this thing to load, I want to bring this Excel spreadsheet back over here. And we're going to take a couple of things and look at some of these items in the check content and the fixed text. Now you'll see where some of these things may specify open PowerShell. We're not going to worry about PowerShell, okay? PowerShell needs to be done in more of a 4-year type of degree because it's a lot of detail. There's a lot of information that goes along with this. So you see where this one says configure the policy value for this. These are the guys we're going to look for. Okay, so let's go ahead and try to filter out some of these items here. Set up a filter that contains policy. Let's see if that works for us. Hey, looks like it does. So we're going to leave all these policies right here. As you can see, based upon this setup and the way it's filtered, we have 206 policies. It's quite a bit. So You're not expected to do all 206. Do some of them that make sense to you. When you go through them, it will tell you in some of these other fields and columns as to why you're doing this. Um, these are great these are guidelines. These are not requirements. You're not required to do this for every organization. They may make you, but there are instances where you can make an exception to the rule of fulfilling the requirement of that said policy. So let's go ahead and move our spreadsheet back over here and get back into our VM. All right. If you haven't logged in a while, if you restarted your computer, you're going to have to put in your domain admin information. So go ahead and do that, log in. Now, there are a number of different ways of getting to the group policy manager. And in doing so, it will, I mean, you can go this way through the tools, go to group policy, or you can go to the start menu, group policy management, or you can go to do a search, type in group or policy, and that information will populate for you. So since this is all still loading up here, looks like it's finally loaded up. We may get a couple pop-ups down here about the licenses, because again, this is stuff that's for a lab environment. So don't worry about not meeting the requirements for licensing. It's only an evaluation copy. So first, we're going to try to look at tools to see if that is available to us. Again, get out of that pop-up. All right. Let's click tools. Let's see if, oh, there it is right there in the middle, group policy management. Once the mouse decides to catch up. There we go. Maximize it. So this is the only thing you're looking at. Now, if you do not see your domain information here, you did something wrong. Go back through parts 1 through 4. Make sure you followed all of the steps that I provided to get to this point, and you'll be able to begin the next step of the process, which is policy management. So we're going to open some of these items. So we're going to go to the domains, click out that, expand this over here a little bit. Okay, so the default domain policy, again, pop-ups, yay. Go ahead and anything like this, you just go ahead and say okay to, just goes away. This gives you kind of a visualization as to what this default domain policy is, who it's going to attach to. Now remember, you created OUs that are within your Active Directory users' computers. What we're going to do in some cases, we're going to link some of these group policies specifically to those OUs. The OUs that I created for our project in this video session is the executives and the accounting groups. So we're going to go ahead and move forward in getting this done. So without further ado, I'm going to kind of try to use this spreadsheet a little bit here in this window. All right. All right. So we want to get that fixed text, really, is what we want to see. So we got the fixed text here for this first one. You see there's a severity medium. Now let's go ahead and just knock out the lows and worry about the highs. Let's see what are really high issues. Now, based upon that filter I just set for the high, you have 22 policies. Let's go with those and start only with those for your project. So in this, it says configure the policy value for computer configuration. So when you see it like this, you're going to look for group policy objects. You're going to expand everything just so you get an idea and familiarity with what's going on. Starter GPO, sites, group policy, results. I mean, click around, get familiarized with what you got going on here. As you see, the OU containers are here, but you want to work in that default domain policy to really get into everybody having the high ones at least taken care of. You can get a report, hear the details. So we're just going to double click on this guy or right click and go to edit. And it's going to bring up the group policy management editor. Okay, so maximize that. So we're looking to go to computer configuration. So here you are, computer configuration. The next thing is Windows settings. You'll have to expand these two folders here to be able to find that. As you can see, there's two of them. Which one do I go to? Based upon what I'm thinking here, these are about policies, so we're going to click on policies. Now, I always try to go with the standard, see what we got going on, and then the next one says Windows settings, security settings. So here's security settings. Wow, that's quite a bit of stuff. So let's move down. Now we're looking for password policy. I don't see password policy there. Okay, so, oh, I have to go to account policies. See how easy that is to get confused? So account policies, there's your password policy. All right, so this one says store passwords using reversible encryption. Set it to disabled. This one is already disabled. So we'll go ahead and click OK. So we're good. So we'll go to the next one. This one says configure the policy value for computer configuration, Windows settings, security settings, local policies. So over here, you got security settings, local policies. Okay, and we're going to click on security options over here to the right. And then we're going to go to network security. Do not store LAN manager hash value on next password change. We're going to set that to enabled. Looks like all of these are not defined, maybe a couple of them. All right, looks like down here, this one's already enabled. Cool. So we're not worried about that one. All right, we're going to go through each of these. I'm just going to go ahead and click through them and walk through it, not by voice, but just manually going through and do the clicking. Feel free to follow along. I'm not going to call out these steps, so just feel free to just sit here and watch. All right, Windows components, Windows remote. All right, we have to make sure this is enabled here. So enable it or disable it. It says allow basic authentication disabled. So we're going to disable it, click apply, okay. Now it's set. So that one's done. It would be best for you as you're finishing out, go ahead and minimize these so you can start from fresh and go through each of the selections. It will help you just to remember to start from the very top up here. Go settings, security settings, local policies, security options, okay, network access. Okay, when you see this, when it's not able to be set to enabled, you want to go ahead and define the policy, set it to enabled, and press OK. Okay, do you want to agree with the change? Say yes. And then say OK, and then click back here. That one's done. All right, this one doesn't look like it's an actual policy, but talking about getting access to them. So we'll skip these. All right, here's another policy value. Configuration. Windows settings. Security settings. Local policies. User rights management or assignment. This one says act as part of the operating system. It says to define these policies, but leave it blank. So in that one, you would just click that box and leave it blank. So press OK. Here's the next one. So back here, create a token object, define it, leave it blank. Debug programs, define it. This one says to only allow the following groups, and that will be the administrators. So we're going to add them, type in administrators. Press apply, and that's it. So we'll go to the next one. Always install with elevated privileges. Set to disabled. All right, so we've done a couple of these, and I won't go through any further, but it gives you an idea as to where to search for these. Now, some of them may get you going into a different area of this. Like this is all about computer configurations. So you want that the highest level. So the default domain policy is the best place for this. So once you've done all this and you're done and you want to get out of it, close out of that, you may have to come down here and then right click on the default domain policy, click refresh, and say OK. Make sure that the GPO status is enabled right here. Go to settings, show all. Now, here is where it will go through all of those settings we just made. All right, so I'll point some of them out for you. So we are all doing all the stuff under computer configuration. So everything up here, here's your LAN manager hash value, force log off when log on hours expire. But down here, there's nothing under user configuration. And that is perfectly fine. This delegation is done to pass along to everybody in the domain. So all domain admins, enterprise admins, domain controllers, and system settings, and all authenticated users. So everybody and their brother is going to have these. All right. To apply a specific one for a OU, you can have the create a GPO in this domain and link it here. You can create one. You can also link an existing group policy object. You always want to do the default domain policy for just anything over there. Even though it's automatically inherited, it's good practice to go ahead and do that. So feel free to go ahead and link the existing domain group policy or default domain policy to each one of your items here so that it flows down. And when you're doing your screenshot, that's it. Literally, you're just making sure that everything's done. Oh, one more thing that I just noticed here. See right there where it says enforced? We want to make sure that that sucker's enforced. So we're going to go to the settings. We're going to make sure everything's here. Wait for that to load. Some lag. Okay, it's enabled. Authenticated users. Okay. See right here, enforced. What that does is it locks it down. So right click, enforced. So now you've enforced that domain policy down to anybody within this. And now you see right here where it says enforced, now it says yes. And that's it. So when we're done, we're going to minimize your screenshot there or your spreadsheet there. Pull up your wonderful snipping tool. Get your snapshot together here with your VM Oracle VirtualBox in the background. And then just like you see on screen is how I want to see it. You have your default domain policy assigned and forced to an OU that you have created. So be sure to submit this for your week 5 snapshot. Continue to work through and go through the highs and mediums of this spreadsheet. Now, when you do the mediums, it does take a little bit longer. This one says 195 records. You don't have to do all of them, but I do want to see your report. So when we do our presentation, you will be required to submit your report to me in the scope of discussion. So to get to that report, make sure you go to the actual policy itself and go to settings. This generates the report and hit the show all. And this is what we'll be looking at when we do your presentation. All right, so that sums up the group policy aspects. We're going to do some of this stuff and discussions in class. I thank you so much for being able and being willing to listen to these videos and watch these videos and go step by step with me. I appreciate your time and effort that you're doing for your projects. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful break, whether it's spring, fall, winter, or summer. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a wonderful day.